Okay, so now we can get to the whole main topic of the podcast. So, Bloom Military Teens. What is Bloom Military Teens?
Where do I even start? Bloom Military Teens, or better known as Bloom, does so much for military kids. Some of the best examples of what we're best known for is that we put out blog articles, we put out art, we have our own podcast team, we have a TikTok team, and we just have so much that we're putting out. And Ava and I, we are senior heads of Bloom, which means that as far as Bloom goes, we are like in the very, very top of the leadership, which means that we can make all sorts of stuff happen within Bloom. And there is definitely a lot that I would love to make happen and bring to Bloom.
I like to think of Bloom as like a multidisciplinary approach, just sharing the military teen voice. So as Cooper mentioned, we have the articles, we have the podcasts, we have the art, and that way you get a more richer understanding of what we have to say and how we express ourselves, because no military teen is the same, as we've discussed. And we're also huge on advocacy. So we have the part where we're sharing our voice, but it's also like there's a lot more that needs to be done. As we mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if it was recorded, but when we were talking about the military state interstate compact, not a lot of teens know about that. What can we do about that? How can we get the word out there? And that's where we also have our social media platforms. I know Bentley, who is someone on our social media team, he did a whole video about like the GI Bill and things about that. So we're not just sharing our voice, but we're making sure that it's heard. We're amplifying what we have to say and trying to help better than serve like the needs of our community.
Absolutely. And that is so exciting because how many other platforms are there out there specifically for and by? Are we the only two, basically? Pretty much?
Pretty much. Bloom has definitely been around for a long time. It was founded by two military teens, Matthew and Elena. And something I absolutely have loved about Bloom is that, from what I can tell, we've always been really supportive of other military kids, such as yourself, starting initiatives like the podcasts. The very first military kid podcast ever, the Shannon Show,
Show.
Bloom, Matthew, and Elena, the founders of Bloom, they found ways to get all sorts of involved with that podcast. And from what I can tell, I haven't spoken with them directly, but from based on everything I have seen, it looks like that they've made lifelong friends out of that. There is also Grace of a Military Child in Life, run by Gracie. I believe she stopped around this time last year as she was joining the Army. Bloom was incredibly supportive of her and sending her lots and lots of Bloom members to interview.
Yeah.
And I think there was a couple others that I can't think of for my life right now, but those are
There's
like the
used
main
to be
two
a
that I
military
remember.
teen.
Used to
too.
be a military kid is this amazing military kid. Sorry.
Shameless plug? Shameless plug?
Shameless plug. It's totally not me, but it's this military kid meme page on Instagram. It was
I heard he's
actually
really cool.
yeah, no, whoever runs
I think
it.
people should check it out.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
inspired by the Shannon Show. He stopped making military kid memes about very late 2024. Here's a little bit of a shocker for you guys. It's actually me.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
It's like
Me
Batman
and my
revealing
friend
himself.
Jay, we used to be a military kid, but he very quickly kind of hopped off that train, especially as we saw that Shannon stopped putting out a lot of military kid meme stuff, which I don't blame him for a second for doing that. He was graduating out of college, and for me, that there's not a better time to stop that. But with that being said, used to be a military kid. That's me. And I've had a lot of fun acting as used to be a military kid, as well as the senior head of communications for Bloom. I've really gotten to get I've gotten to see like the military kid community, not just for what it is, but who runs it. And I really love everything that I've learned.
Yeah, going back to some of those points, like even if you listen to some of like the earlier Bloom podcasts, there was a time when like Shannon was on like the Bloom podcast and he was talking about Kate and like her like inequality homework for math or things like that. So you can just tell like how close they all were at the time, and that's something I really look up to as being a part of Bloom, it didn't just teach me a lot about the like military kid community, but also a lot about leadership. I've met so many go-getters being a part of this community, and it's like a different kind of go-getter because they're all like very dedicated to like certain cause, whether it's like robotics or whether it is military kid affiliated. It's just everyone here is very driven about their goals and about purpose. I would say very purpose oriented. They know what they want to do. They have dreams and they know how they're going to get it done, but they also want to help uplift others. And similar to like Cooper, I don't know when you joined, but I joined as a freshman. And so getting to know Kate, who again like left the team not too long ago, but Kate and Emily and just all the former Bloom military senior heads, you could say, was such an honor. And they have just inspired me with like advocacy and communicating my thoughts and just being a leader overall. So Bloom has been such an amazing opportunity. And, you know, another plug we could do is that our applications are coming up in September.
Wow. Okay, so let's jump into that really quick. And I will say, in the description, I want to put a list of all the different resources we just talked about. Ava and Cooper can help me compile that list. I know we have our Spotify playlist with all podcast episodes, and then all the other things we mentioned. We'll try to get a list of that for anybody who's interested. And now into applications. If they're like, wow, you guys are so cool, how do I become a bloomer?
So our application season is typically all of September, but if for whatever reason you're listening to this outside of the application season, it would not hurt to email us. I cannot strictly say we are going to accept everyone, but we don't really have reasons to turn people away, especially dedicated military kids.
Yes.
Under me, I want to try and bring in as many military kids as possible, and I truly believe that Bloom, it really has just changed my life, and I hope that it can change yours. I truly recommend applying, even if you're listening to this years after this podcast is being recorded. It will probably still be changing things
if it died.
to this day. Bloom has definitely had its inactive spells, but one thing that will never happen is that Bloom will never die. Used to be a military kid, may die one day. The Shannon Show is a little inactive. Grace of a Military Child of Life, that's all inactive. Bloom is something generational. I hope that it will stand forever.
Absolutely.
And another point I would like to recommend is that no matter like what your skill sets are, just apply to Bloom because you'll be surprised like the diverse pockets that we have available on our team. So for me, I joined as a graphic designer, which we are especially looking for right now. So if you have
graphic designers bad.
Artistic or creative talents, please join the graphic design. Or if there's actually something that you don't know too much about but you would like to learn, that's another perfect place to be in Bloom. Like on the marketing side, if you'd like to tap into that, then there are so many amazing marketing leaders on Bloom that can help you get into that and learn more. So similar to what Cooper said, like we don't have many reasons to turn you down as long as you show up with responsibility, communication, dedication to helping further this mission at Bloom that we have.
Also, for our graphic design creators, we have Canva Premium, and we have it as a team. Just as that's been a really good selling point for a lot. So I just want to put that out there.
Canva
might have to hop on the graphic design team.
Yeah.
I believe it's actually open to just anyone who joins Bloom.
It's really exciting.
As long as your role kind of needs it. I started in Bloom as a podcast editor. And they gave me access to the Canva teams just so I could create little graphics, which I absolutely did, in addition to a lot of other things that may or may not have been Bloom related. But even if you do get a role like podcast editor, that doesn't mean you just have to do what your role is.
Yeah.
I also kind of extended out, and I also helped host the Bloom Room for a while. So if you're listening, if you've ever listened to the Bloom Room before and you recognize my voice, it's me, Cooper. I feel a little sorry for you if you haven't made that connection yet.
Bloom is Cooper. All of Bloom.
We actually joked on the podcast a lot.
Yeah, and then I just take off my mask and I'm like secretly.
It's Cooper all along. Yeah. Something that we did joke about a lot is Bentley, who also started on the podcast team, but he is now in charge of the TikTok team. There was a really brief 1.5 month just time where Bentley and we were all like hosting the podcasts, but we were also on our other teams. So Bentley was also picking up the head of podcast role, and Kate was teaching me she was mentoring me on how to be a good senior head of communications, all the kind of different teams that we have, which we have a lot, and really just how to kind of tie everything together. And for that 1.5 months of time that we had, I think that was the podcast's most productive month, just because we were putting out so many episodes. As Allison mentioned earlier, we have a Spotify playlist of every single military kid podcast ever. If you scroll down to about where this episode is and then go up a little bit, you'll see that there's a bunch of back and forth between a bunch of podcasts. And then you'll just see back and forth, Bloom Room, Bloom Room, Bloom Room, Bloom Room, Bloom Room. I think it's episodes 4 through 10. All were recorded within like the same 20 weeks and put out then too. Which that is actually something I am really excited to bring back yet again. The only reason the podcast team kind of fell out of inactivity is because we all got involved in other stuff just beyond Bloom. Or just
Right.
beyond our team within Bloom, I should say.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you talk about the other positions you can hold within Bloom, or maybe like bottom positions, like entry level, or how you can progress? Especially
Honestly,
if you're like a 7th grader, right? You
Mhm.
need the younger ones who can
Oh yes,
go for a
sure.
couple more years.
So
100%.
in terms of that, there are like we can talk about like creative positions. So a lot of the content output that we're directly producing, we have the writers, the blog writers, graphic designers, and then we have the marketing team where we're creating that social media content. But within those, there are like individual facets. So for example, you could be a part of like our blog team, but you can be like an editor, and that in a way is a step up. And then above that is like the editor in chief role. So there are lots of individual things, or like for Cooper, he was podcast editor. So there are so many individual ways to get involved, and honestly I feel like you could join any team, and if you see a need for a new role, then that could be like a potential position that we create uniquely for you if we do see a place for it. And so that kind of shows the flexibility of a lot of these roles. And in terms of uh getting to, for example, the senior head positions, I think that's a unique way to do it because, for example, Cooper was in podcasting, I was in graphics. I never thought I would get this role because it seems so unrelated, but it comes down to being the best team member. And like just like for me, I think it came down to being good at communication. And if it's like we need this graphic, we need this graphic, we need this graphic, for me I was like making graphics ahead of time, like, oh, this holiday is coming up, I need to make it now so that they can post it then. And so just showing up with the work and thinking ahead and showing that like you're doing this for the team instead of more like just what I can get out of this, that is what we're looking for. And that's kind of what I think got noticed for me, and that's how I ended up in the position I am today, which I'm so grateful to have. But it also, yeah, it's flexible. So even if you join as an artist, who knows, you could be a senior head of program someday.
So really, I'd say that any position realistically can be an entry-level position. As long as you try and maybe just go a little above and beyond what your position entails, it can really take you a long way. Because I joined Bloom just supposed to be a podcast editor. Instead, I also decided to host and change around a couple things in the system. Kate, the senior head of communications at that time, saw that and decided to begin to mentor me and make me the senior head of communications I am now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, passion
I will
shows.
say,
Passion shows for sure.
yeah. So Bloom, how does it work? Like, let's say I was in Bloom, and how would that work with, like, with my college applications? How does Bloom go on a resume? Is it volunteer work? Is it an employment position?
So
I think it's volunteer work. For me,
it's
I'm like do a lot of administrative stuff. So we do offer hours for the work that people go in. We do verify that with the leads to make sure that like the content you're producing and what you're doing for the team is verified, but it is a volunteer position essentially.
Yeah, so it's not paid. Sorry,
yeah, I
y'all.
mean, I would assume that.
I mean, I would love for it to be, but there's just some things you can't make happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's the more the merrier, right? We can
Absolutely.
accomplish more the more people join.
Honestly, I think it's more fun than we're not paid. Okay, take that with a grain of salt because I feel like, especially with the senior head roles, you do end up putting in a lot of work for it, but it just means that you're tied together by the want to do something
And the
for
passion,
this community.
too.
Mhm.
You need the passion.
Exactly. You're not here because you're being paid. You're here because you want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you guys could talk about this for 20 minutes, so maybe keep it a little short. But
20 hours.
What are Bloom's goals and vision statements or manifestos? Like, what is at the heart of Bloom?
Should we
Honestly-
talk about future directions first?
Yeah, you
For
can go into that.
The future, as I've said before, we definitely want to bring the podcast team back stronger than ever.
Yes,
Definitely
yes.
more variety of hosts as well. We also want to start giving our TikTok team the full graphic design creators. We are like in desperate need of them because between you and me, we have none. They've all aged out of Bloom, which this is what we do to kind of keep our community authentic. As soon as you turn, I think it's 20, maybe 21. It's when you're done with your freshman year of college. That's kind of when you're forced to being age out of Bloom. But depending on your role, you can age out sooner. So there's definitely a lot that can happen, and there's a lot that we want to make happen. I don't want to say anything specific because I don't want to jinx it, but there's definitely a lot of collaborations that we like doing. Shout out Home is where the heart is. They're this. Go check them out. Yeah, you guys. I have no idea who runs it, but she's awesome.
I will say, what's the youngest you can join Bloom? Do you guys have a minimum age?
Ooh, so
I feel like
Yeah, minimum.
12, 13.
12 is what it
13
says on our
officially
website.
15. Yeah, but 12.
Okay.
And yeah, just like don't shy away from thinking, "Oh, I'm too young, like I'm not going to get this role." If you like honestly, we really want it's so special to have members who've been here from like 13 all the way to, for example, 19. Like
That would be awesome.
we're
Yeah.
especially looking for members like you. So do not shy away from the process thinking that you're too young. Like we want to see how you can contribute. We're excited to have you on the team. So please apply. And in terms of future directions, like in a broader sense, something that we're working towards is getting collaborations like these, you know, Home is where the heart is. I think they're really cool. I think everyone should comment on all their posts and like everything and repost everything. I just think they're so amazing. I really don't know who runs it though. So shout out to whoever they are. But also just furthering that military teen community and finding more ways for military teens to connect with each other, whether that's creating like a separate community, something like a Discord channel, or whether it's like hosting possibly like we call it Bloom Zooms, where like military teams can just get together and talk about whatever, or maybe even like hosting like game nights or movie nights open to the military community, which is something Cooper and I have done for our team internally. Just finding more ways to keep the military teen actively engaged in talking with each other.
Yeah, they've made me watch the movie To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is not my genre of movies.
I have pictures.
You have pictures?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
very
goodness.
funny. For some reason you were at the corner of my screen. And so like Laura Jean is like running in the grass and you're like
because what am I supposed to think?
Do we have to leak?
I mean, you have my consent to put the photos on the podcast, right? I can be a little embarrassed. Right. Worst has happened to me.
You can email me after.
I guess so. You don't have a choice.
So if you're looking for military friends, isn't Bloom the perfect place to join a military community?
It really is. And we're making lots of effort to bring in just everyone who's volunteers for Bloom, just kind of bring them closer together, even if you're not in the same team. Exactly. That's what we are just making happen.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's an exciting part because even we're looking to further what we've done in the past, because I think Cooper and I can both agree that when we first joined, we may have been like closer than we were like compared to these past couple months.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like we weren't so connected when we first joined that I knew everything that was going on in the podcast team. Usually I was just kind of sticking to whatever was going on in the graphics team. So we're like we're rebuilding to that point where we're connected, and then we're going further than that so that like you could message anyone from anywhere and be like, I want to try this out, or I wrote this article for our blog, and just keep that connection with everyone.
And like, who's lived here? And there'll probably be like a
Mhm.
list of people like, oh yeah, I was just there. I'm still
Which
here.
that's happened a couple times actually. Just we also hold regional chats within our Discord server, and there will be a couple times where it's like, "Hey, is anyone in blank area attending blank conference?" And almost always, except for the one that I went to, there's always a bloomer that's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to this." Which and
That's so special.
Bloom meetups happen out of that, and we just love to see it.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Okay, what is your favorite part of Bloom, or your favorite thing that Bloom has done? All of the above, I know, but favorite
Okay.
top highlight.
I'd have to say, there's definitely a lot of different ways I want to say this. I want to say one of the most important things that we've done is our collaboration with the MIC3 Interstate Compact. We really brought the voices of military kids to the representatives, the people who were representing each state within MIC3. And honestly, I really like the work we do. I may be wrong about this, so please don't quote me, but I believe this collaboration is annual, which means that we will be doing it again and again
Exciting.
and again. So,
And we need your input.
absolutely.
I think
so I'd
that
definitely say that's the most important.
what happened was like we were a part of like a panel that was presenting to the annual business meeting at the military interstate compact. So I think it was an important chance for all these representatives to hear about who they're advocating for, and in a way remind them of the human behind like their purpose, because I'm sure as they fill out their jobs and they're doing all this paperwork, it can be easy to forget like the actual humans who are behind this. So just reminding them that we are so appreciative of what they're doing, and just like almost fulfilling their cause in ways that like how they can reach us more, or more what we're looking for. So I think I agree with Cooper that work with the MIC3 is especially fulfilling. But I would also like to say, like, for me, it comes down to the work that we do at the individual level, whether it's our art or our blogs. They're like, okay, I don't have Instagram personally, and part of it is just like being military kid. It is easy to get lost in like all the stuff you're missing out at like places you used to live before, but occasionally I will check in. And like I saw this one thing on our page where it was like never forget military kid, and then it had like a lot
Oh,
of
that was,
images.
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and so like you
So
can tell
nostalgic.
like so many people relate and connect with that, and there is no other place where you'd find that kind of content. So I feel like even if it's just one like just coming across that on your For You page, I feel like it's such a shout out to who we are and reminders of our identity. And I like to think that like Bloom is helping affirm that for everyone and let them know that there is a space for them to be their best military kid selves. So that is my favorite part about Bloom.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's so cool.
something that is
ahead.
coming, and I keep forgetting to do this. I'm going to either assign it to someone to remind me to keep doing this. We're going to try, and you know how Instagram is with like gifts and whatnot? We're going to try and get like some military kid gifts out there, because whenever you search
Yes.
in just anything military kid related into gifts, you hardly get it. From what I can tell, when you search military kid content on TikTok, there's pretty much nothing that comes up. And when you search it on Instagram, it's a bunch of Bloom and used to be a military kid, which I'm not mad about it at all. But so Bloom gifts,
That's such
definitely
a fun
expect that in the
development.
future, right? I'm fighting to make it happen, but I'm mainly just fighting myself to remember to do it.
So, how did you guys first hear about Bloom?
For me, it was through my mom. I think it was some like Facebook post or something like that. And like I'm in journalism, so I remember the day I just came from an interview about I was like covering like a local car meetup or something, and we're going to get breakfast burritos, and my mom texts me, "Hey, there's this military kid opportunity." And I'm looking at it, and like it stands out to me because of the diverse array of opportunities I have. And so graphic designers stood out to me. and that's what I applied
Mm.
for.
Yeah, that's so cool. Cooper?
Honestly, for me, it's very. I've explained this a couple more times. It's very, very complicated. When I used to be a military kid with Jay, I wasn't aware of any of the military kid presence already out there in social media. And I guess Jay did a lot of the PR managing. Like he reached out to a bunch of organizations on behalf of used to be a military kid. He did it in a little bit of an embarrassing way that I wish he didn't. But
Oh
I
my
saw that he was
goodness.
following Bloom, and Bloom at one point made a post saying, "Hey, we need a podcast editor. We've actually reopened applications because of how badly we need this. The deadline is tonight at midnight." Well, because I'd viewed the post a couple days late, it was actually the night that I viewed it. I'm like, I better get onto this very quickly. So I applied, I think, at the very last minute. By some miracle, I made it in, and from there, I didn't let an opportunity go past me. If I saw something that I could do or change something for the better, that's exactly what I did. And now I'm here.
That's so awesome. I love that you have the passion and the initiative to do that. We need that. Okay, let's see. So let's talk about a little bit of Bloom behind the scenes. What would it look like if you potentially became involved? What kind of work do you do on the day-to-day? Is it a weekly thing, monthly thing?
I
So,
think it's department specific because for if you're like a blog writer, which is one of the most common like positions we have, I believe they like you submit articles on like a monthly or I'm pretty sure it's weekly basis.
bi-weekly, I
So
think.
there's like a really steady basis for that.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're a graphic designer, it's also tied to the schedule of like the blog writers because you're creating content for each of the blog posts. Versus other jobs, I feel like usually it follows a pretty steady basis. Like for Cooper's work with podcasts, it follow each of the podcast episodes. When it comes to more of what we do, I guess for me, like as senior head of staff, like it's a lot of administrative work, so it can be more dependent on when we have like those application seasons. So yeah, it's really department dependent, I would say.
Okay.
I'd say that
Cooper?
for me, and my experience on what I've seen firsthand with Bentley's TikTok team and being a podcast editor slash host slash whatever you want to say, it is very, very dependent. I'd say that if you're not interested in taking up the leadership position of a head or a senior head, that it's about maybe once every 2-ish weeks. Unless if it's like a podcast, you might spend like a day and then the day after either prepping or recording for a podcast, just because I know that some other members had a ton of equipment, but they didn't have anywhere to like set it up permanently. So that can definitely play a huge factor into it. As a team head, which just means that you're in charge of one team, I'd definitely say it's probably more on the weekly side, just because you have to kind of make sure your team's being active and coordinate with the senior heads,
For
aka
sure.
me, Ava, and our newest senior head, Addison, who just got appointed, I think, just a few weeks back.
I think
last week.
I used to be like not senior head. It was called joint head of marketing, and that was back when we used ClickUp. So that was like very intensive because you have like this long list of articles that need to be done, and so you're constantly like assigning people to the different articles, coordinating with social media team as well as making sure everyone is on top of it. And that's where it becomes frustrating if people aren't like doing their job and submitting the graphics. So that's like as soon as you step into that higher leadership role, that's where like the stakes are higher. I feel like Cooper can agree that once you get to senior head level, especially during our most busiest seasons, sometimes Bloom feels like an every 3-hour thing. It's like, oh, new email that I have to respond to right now, and which references this thing that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and now it's relevant. So
that's exactly that's exactly for me. Yes, I practically wake up thinking about Bloom, go to sleep thinking about Bloom, and it's almost always thinking
live,
on
eat,
some kind of
sleep.
hard decision. Yep, drink, live, eat, sleep, wake up, do Bloom work, go back to sleep.
It sounds like we're talking about like the other Bloom. What's it called? The nutritional, like the supplement or something.
This is not sponsored by Bloom, the nutritional supplement.
Nope. Which this is also really funny that you bring up another Bloom. While I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, my brothers attended this elementary school that was called Bloom. And so whenever I
Wow.
said, hey, I'm applying to Bloom, it's this amazing opportunity. For the
They're like,
first
"What?"
3 months, my parents and my uncle and my aunt and their whole family that we were living with at the time, they all genuinely thought that I was some way, somehow working for their elementary school.
That's really
Which
funny.
I had to eventually explain, no, Bloom is this completely different thing. And even every other day when I end up talking to my cousins, my brothers play Fortnite with them a lot, and I hear them on the mic. And I say, sorry, I can't do anything right now. I can't grab you water. I have to go to this Bloom meeting. And my cousin almost always says, Bloom is 1,000 miles away from you. You can't get there in time.
That is really funny. So,
It's just funny how stuff like this always happens.
yeah. I mean, it's just like Bloom is like it's so one of a kind that I think we just need to talk about it as much as we can, and so many people need to hear about it because they could benefit or add to it, and
I
benefit others.
100% agree.
Yeah. So let's see. If you could expand Bloom in one way, we talked about the gifts and you talked about like Bloom becoming like even more permanent and generational than it already is. But what's a way you'd want to expand? Maybe Ava go first.
Yeah. When I specifically want to expand, we have something called like our ambassador program where we have like that regional outreach. So, for example, like a specific state or region, or like, for example, I used to be like West Coast ambassador, that kind of thing. So, expanding our relationship one on one with like specific what's it called, with specific like military schools and things like that, and having that one-on-one relationship where we're able to be like, this is what Bloom's doing, can we like push this out to all the different schools? That is one way we want to increase the depth and reach, because we're really trying to create like that broader military connected community. And right now we have that with our social media teams and the content that we are producing, but it doesn't feel as personal and direct as it could be.
I agree
For
with
sure.
that. For me, I would definitely say merchandise. Now, haven't really
Okay.
thought this through about how we would go about doing that. We already sell merchandise on our website. First and foremost, we need a graphics team back to even begin to do anything. So graphics team is number one priority, so we can get a bunch of posts out about the art we put out, specific holidays, because I believe Korean War Armistice Day is coming up here in a couple months, if my memory serves me correctly. I definitely want to start just getting a bunch of posts out there for even like some of the lesser known military holidays. I feel as if all of them should be recognized and at least being posted by Bloom.
Absolutely.
Because we're the perfect platform for that, and we're almost like the only platform besides like the more adult like social media pages for military, but like for us, that's like a really unique thing that we can do.
I will say maybe like a t-shirt contest would be really cool. Just
Ooh,
open it up.
Oh yeah.
that'd
And
actually
then
be
you
fun.
could like recruit people. Be like, you could pick the top 5 and be like, you are all on the graphic design team now, and they're all gonna be t-shirts. You know, I think that would be fun.
Honestly, that would work out amazingly well. Merchandise is definitely something I've wanted to get going for a while, but again, we need a graphics team first, and we can't have a graphics team without a graphic design creator.
You hear that, guys? Apply to the
Graphics
graphics
team.
team.
Even if
Yes.
years down the line you're listening to this, please.
What if we have like 100 graphic designers at that point? Like, what
Honestly,
if because of this episode, Bloom is just a graphic design team?
then we will never
Because of
miss
this.
another deadline, and we were gonna have some of the best graphics posts ever.
It's like,
I'm not gonna be mad about
replace
that.
me and Cooper with, I'll be senior head of graphics, he'll be senior head of design.
Graphics as well.
We'll have another senior head of
That's it.
graphic design.
Yeah, that's I love that. So yeah, Bloom has so much room to grow, and that's so exciting. So all the military teens listening, or 12-year-olds, you know, we want you to. Let's see. Let's close out this with some advice. Maybe if a military teen is watching this and they're feeling sad after a move, what do you want to say to them?
Almost always, my thing is get involved. Even if you don't want to, I say get involved in anything. getting involved is how I've made some of the best friends I've ever had in Kubasaki High School and Atherton High School, at Leonardtown High School, and at the Tech Center I attend. Getting involved is what will change your life. It is how everything can change for you. Even if you're moving in a couple of months, it does not matter. You will make some of the best friends you've ever had. And there's lots of organizations out there that have a national presence. Some examples are DECA, Skills USA, and those are the only two I can think of right now. But getting involved in even just those can give you a lot of credibility when you find another DECA or Skills USA chapter in your next move, right?
Yeah,
Skills
absolutely.
USA is an amazing organization that I have had the pleasure of working with as a Maryland state officer. I had the opportunity to join it when I lived in Kentucky. I didn't, and I regret it to this day.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge part of making the most of your time, like we talked about. Or even if it takes you 4 months to get involved, like, it's still worth it.
Absolutely.
Even if you yeah. Ava?
Yeah. Briefly before I go on my own answer, just bringing that back up about getting involved, I feel like then as you like move to the next state, then it kind of gives you more entryway to meet more people. Like other forms would be like, for example, National Speech and Debate Association, which is something I'm a part of. And so there's like
Yeah.
practically a speech and debate club or something like that, no matter where you go. And so that's a great way to meet people, especially because like if you think about the kind of speech and debate person or the kind of DECA person, they're usually very involved. They're like very open to talking and meeting new people. So I think that's a perfect way to one, meet new people wherever you are, and two, just keep your mind off things because sometimes the best way to move on is just to get involved. And in terms of like advice, if you're feeling sad, I'm trying to think because I really do resonate with the getting involved. I would say keeping an open mind. I feel like we all talk about this, but you really can't compare like the old place to the new place because it will never be the same. But that is something that should be exciting. That is something that you can see as like, okay, well now I have like this whole new place to explore. I have all these new people to meet. And this place could become like the next place that I will end up missing, if I give it that chance.
Absolutely.
And approaching it with that open mind. So this is like kind of tough love, but part of me is like sometimes you need to like move on faster than you think in order to just like realize that this is your new place and that you can make the most of it if you're willing to give it that chance.
I agree. And again, like everywhere you go is going to be unique. Everyone you meet is going to be unique. So even if you don't want to have an open mind, you're not feeling adaptable, you're not feeling resilient, fake it till you make it. Put yourself out there. It can't hurt ever.
And if you have to get involved with any organization, Bloom is definitely one of the better
Anywhere
ones.
you go,
Anywhere
you join Bloom.
Like if you still want to vent, we're here for you.
Yeah, most definitely. So I think now, does anybody have anything else to say?
Honestly, I'm
Any parting
really
words?
happy with how this episode went about. I really liked how much we were able to talk about Bloom. Honestly, I hope to be back on this podcast, but as a Bloom representative, I would love to come back and make a reappearance, maybe send you other Bloom members so you can hear from them.
Yes.
I think it'd be amazing to have Allison on the Bloom podcast as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Love.
Once we get that podcast team up and running again, I'm going to fight to make that happen.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for all of your time. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for inviting us on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes. Thanks for listening to Home is Where the Heart Is. I'm Allie, and I hope today's episode reminded you that you're not alone. We're all in this together. If you want to share your story, email me at thatmilteen@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at thatmilteen to stay up to date in my community. If you're listening on Spotify, please rate the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, interacting with this video helps this reach more military kids just like you. Remember, home isn't just a place, it's where your heart is. Bye!
That was amazing.